Let's go ahead and get to it then. Why? Hello there. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, my name is Mr. Dogboat333, and welcome back to the New Campaign Trail. Now, last time we hopped into New Campaign Trail, I believe we played as a young upstart from Delaware by the name of Joe Byron or something, I forget. And we started off as the rookie in a Senate race against a massive incumbent with a huge legacy, but we managed to pull out an upset victory at the end and pulled things out. So, there we go. Now we're going to go ahead and I'm streaming right now. I can't. I'm not record. Oh, my shadow play isn't letting me record right now. I think I need to update the drivers. So I figured I'd just go ahead and record this on Twitch. So you usually don't see the face cam because I usually keep this to Twitch. But hello everyone, how you doing? And we're gonna go ahead and hop in and play ourselves some New Campaign Trail. Mainly, we're gonna be playing we're starting off with the Red series, which is a series I don't think I've played before. I played because it dropped around the same time as Identity War, if you all remember that fun little thing. And I still have that video from me playing. I think it was I believe it was the Henry Wallace side of Identity War. And I mean, that was an interesting mod. I didn't hate it, but it had some shit that needed to be taken out for sure. And so, like, I didn't really bat too many eyebrows when I saw that they removed it, because it probably should have gone. But yeah, now we're gonna go ahead and play the Red series, which I wanted to play a little bit more, but I didn't have a chance before I went out to study in Europe for a semester because I couldn't really record much of anything, so I didn't get a chance to play it. While I was over there, they did a convention for the 1960 Democratic presidential candidate election to pick who would be going up canonically in the new Red mod, which I actually took part in that. I still like Mike, because there's nothing to not like. I will always stand by that. Is my stream going offline now? It said it went offline for a second. I'm hoping that doesn't fuck up with the VOD or anything. Because that's the only way I can record on this. But yeah. And also, when I came back, the main mod guy, Tom, has removed himself from the community for, he got removed by the mod for some comments he said. And then he removed himself from the community large. And some people are still taking up 1960 Red, but I believe they said that it's going to be the last mod in the series, which is a little unfortunate because I did like the series. I spent my time off stream talking about that controversy a little bit. I don't want to get into it too much just because I don't know if I want to. At least like upload it to YouTube and put it all out there. But yeah, I want to go ahead and play the mod. So, snare is made by Tom and Aiden. Go and pause and check that out if you want to thank all these people. Anyhow. America stands at the precipice of an election of historic significance. After the death of FDR in 1945, his vice president, Henry Wallace, took up the burden of the presidency during the tumult of the end of the Second World War. After the costly failed invasion of Japan, Wallace's already shaky approval ratings plummeted. In April 1946, the red flag flew over Tokyo. Today, the Reds stand on the precipice of domination of East Asia. America's imperial allies are unraveling at the seams, and Earth is shaken by an unspoken ideological war. 1940 election, Wallace will have to make his case to the American people and his own party that his own brand of progressivism is the correct path for America during these troubled times. Republican nominee Harold Stassen, a veteran of World War II, won the primary by excoriating Wallace for his alleged Bolshevik sympathies. He's a favorite to win, and his lead has only been exacerbated by the candidacy of Richard Russell in the South, running as a states' rights Democrat. It will never not be funny how Identity War and Red basically dropped at the same time. I know there was some resentment. I saw that Tom was actually going to remake Identity War, which kind of funny to me. I don't know if that remake is going anywhere now. By the way, I think I'm still in the Red Discord. So if anyone in the Red Discord is watching this right now and you recognize me, hello. Looking forward to 1960 whenever that happens. Whenever that comes out. I think they're doing another spin-off of this as well. Looking forward to all that. I figured I should give us a spin, so I'm going to do that. Thanks for coming, Kev. Anyway, I'm gonna pause that because I'm not fucking around with music anymore. I'm sorry. I like the music and adding it to it, but historically, that made a video just outright impossible. Like, if I can monetize these two, I don't mind that. But it's mainly like I want to make sure these are viewable. So, I want to go ahead and do the canon paths for all these for now. So that's kind of my mindset going into this. I want to play the canon paths. If you guys want to see me do some different options, and when I say canon, like the candidate who wins. If you want to see me play any of these other guys, I will go ahead and do whichever gets the most demand. If I get, let's say 10 likes on this video, when this goes up. If I get 10 likes on this video, I will revisit 48, and I will play one other, either Wallace or Russell, depending on, just like, someone leave a comment if you want to see one or the other. Whichever has the most likes, I'll do that. So I get, help me in the algorithm a little bit. And, I just want to make sure you guys are actually interested in this. If not, I'll just go do 52, 56, and then 60 whenever that comes out. And, like, whenever that happens, I'll keep an eye and I'll make sure to do it. Anyway. Sorry, I'm rambling a little bit. I'm a little rusty on all this. So, YouTube and streaming and new campaign trail stuff. So, bear with me. Let's actually hop into the mod. So, we're going to be playing as Harold Stassen, a Republican from the state of Minnesota. As the results of a sixth tally echo through the RNC in Philadelphia, Harold Stassen could feel his heart race. He had waited for this moment for longer than he could remember. A lifelong Minnesotan, Harold Stassen was elected governor of the state in 1938 and made a name for himself in the party, advocating for national strength. His position was vindicated after the Pearl Harbor attacks in 1941. The unpopularity of President Wallace's foreign policies led the Republican Party to praise a more resolute foreign policy, and right into the arms of Governor Stassen. Having resigned his governorship to serve as a commander in the U.S. Navy, Stassen is a commanding presence and a legion of supporters emboldened by his attacks on President Wallace and suspected communists. He begins the campaign with a strong polling lead. Now, he just needs to maintain it. I wonder how easy making shit for this game is, because the Northern Ireland Assembly election mod would be certainly an interesting thing. That would be. I'd tell you to hop in and try it out, but I know you don't have a computer anymore, Kev, so that's going to be a little rough for you. Let me think about Harold Stassen. I know a little bit about him. Governor of Minnesota, very close to getting the nomination in 1948, but he lost to Thomas Dewey. And then he kept running for the nomination for like a very, very long time. Like, he tried to primary Ronald Reagan in 1984. Like, he tried for a very long time. And he tried running for offices. After he was elected governor of Minnesota, that was the last real election like he had. He kind of became a perennial candidate from there. But, I mean, seems like a solid guy from what I can tell. Nothing objectionable about him. Yeah. I have a guide pulled up. Wait, shit, fuck, go back. I want to see if I can go ahead and get it as optimized as I can to win the best. But yeah. We're just going to take an opportunity to explore things. So we have, what is it telling me? It just says I should go with Marshall. I'll just go with the cannon guy. Just got to keep it, canonical. Arthur H. Vandenberg, a prominent figure in the Republican Party, Arthur Vandenberg has led the opposition to the Second New Deal in the Roosevelt administration's domestic programs. As well, he was once a strong isolationist who helped usher in the Neutrality Acts. Nonetheless, he has since changed his tune, and is now one of the Senate's most ardent interventionists. His greatest strength, his connection within the Republican Party and experience, are conversely his greatest weakness in the election. Few Americans want to roll back the New Deal, and Republicans in Congress were unpopular for over a decade before the war. Well, let's give this a shot. Normal difficulty, winner take all that stuff. April 1946. The war will soon be over, and Harold Stassen is playing an integral part in its resolution. A series of islands flank the Third Fleet, the Japanese mainland looking on in the distance. Before them, Imabari Castle straddles the coastline below ash-ridden skies. A few Japanese ships stray forward towards the fleet. Admiral Halsey turns to you. What do you think we ought to do, Harold? Our Marines are bleeding out down there. Move the USS New Jersey forward to provide covering fire for our boys' island side. Let's level that castle. Soon, Imabari Castle is destroyed, and that gives the Marines below enough breathing room to push forward, and soon they raise the U.S. flag over the ruins of the battered fortress, and Shikoku finally falls, the last bastion of the Japanese Empire. Oh, let's take a look at the map starting off. It looks fucking insane. We're doing well off the bat. I mean, God, we're even winning West Virginia, Jesus. Wallace beats us in Rhode Island. That's really about it. It's close in Texas. It is very close in Texas, but that's about it. Kind of tight in Kentucky. Very close in West Virginia as well. Is it saying that he's gonna... Oh no, the electoral count's working there right now. And then Russell's gonna get the second place. April 1946, it was a rather unorthodox decision, but perhaps fitting of your character that you find yourself mixed in a crowd of sailors and soldiers. The USS New Jersey looks on in staggering majesties of sounds surround you. Banners blaring, welcome home. Finally, you find a familiar face and embrace Esther tight. The war is over, and after you exerted so much influence in the 44 convention, most expect you to run for president. How will you spend the coming year in the lead up to the campaign? I want my face on the cover of every newspaper and magazine in the nation. We're going to go on a full-on press tour from D.C. to New York to Los Angeles to ensure everyone understands who I am and where I stand. Time, Life, Look, and Newsweek all published glowing pieces in the lead up to your announcement. Drew Pearson lauds you for having the courage to take a stand on almost everything, while other candidates are being coy. I love it. Where does it recommend that we go? I know these margins are going to change up a little bit. I'll head to Florida for now. Why not? June 1946, President Wallace has come under fire from Republicans for his veto of the Taft-Hartley Act, a bill to weaken the power of unions. Do you support the veto? Hold on. I'm going to pull up the Streamlabs back again. I'll move it out of the way a little bit. Well, I disagree with the president's veto. This was a perfectly reasonable measure and a necessary reform to our labor policies. Well, this is exactly what your Republican supporters want to hear. April 1947. You're met with an unusual opportunity during your most recent trip to Europe to accompany a group of American foreign affairs experts on a journey to Moscow to meet with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Vyacheslav Molotov. Will you join them? Just a dread inspect element. Do I want to just inspect element and take it? Because I could just do that. I don't think I'll go for overly optimized. I could do that, but I'll just go ahead and do... I will. This move could help branch my foreign policy expertise ahead of primaries. Lord knows Dewey has me beat on that issue already. The meeting not only goes well, but you stun observers back home by managing to schedule a few minutes one-on-one with Stalin. This will definitely be a serious boost to your profile. There we go. The Upper South might be a little contested eventually. I'll go with North Carolina. May 1948. You're about to hear a debate between Stassen and Dewey, candidates for president. Those words strike you as you find yourself as a participant in the first ever presidential debate in Oregon. The primary issue, which of these candidates are diametrically opposed, is, should the Communist Party in the United States be outlawed? During the recent war, I saw many young Americans killed. I saw ships explode and burn, planes crash in flames, American men fall. I met thousands of Americans who were liberated from indescribable suffering. For these reasons, it is paramount that communism ought never be allowed to fester in this nation. Framing this issue as one of stability is a good pitch and provides little room for Dewey to attack you, gazing out at your opponent, but short prosecutor, you see his steely gaze shatter, just a bit. As a result of the sixth tally at the Republican Convention in Philadelphia, it becomes clear you could feel the weight of history on your shoulders. As you walk up to the podium to accept the Republican nomination, what will you say to these divided delegates? Let's be realistic. Tom Dewey was our primary opponent, and we need the Eastern establishment on our side if we want any chance of winning. I will speak to my support of civil rights, the need for America to be an engaged member of the international community, and my support for federal aid for slum clearance and low-income housing. This will expand your base among Democrats and moderates fed up with Wallace, but at the cost of Taft's conservative bloc. Well, hopefully we can balance that out with our VP. I'm kind of worried about Texas, but I'm not sure if much room to worry about. I'll wiggle around that. Go Maryland. It was an expected pick from you, but it's nonetheless noteworthy that you've chosen Arthur Vandenberg, the man who infamously opposed Roosevelt's second New Deal as your running mate. Why have you chosen him? I know many observers worry that the Republican Party will do fracture defeat Wallace. Well, let my choice of running mate be proof, but I am serious about healing party divisions and putting up a united front against Wallace and the Democrats. I think that might be the best bet, because people like the New Deal. They don't want to see it go. It's clever to deflect from Vandenberg's ideology and focus on party unity. It doesn't hurt that you and him agree on foreign policy so strongly. Following the Philadelphia Convention, your advisors believe it is imperative for your campaign that it reaches out to other Republicans and show up its support in order to appeal to a wider base of supporters who will campaign within the coming week. Well, foreign policy is the main point of this campaign, so why not travel to New York and campaign with John Foster Dulles and Henry Stimson, two Republican titans of foreign policy. There I will speak to my support of a strong UN, combating internal communism, and my support of the Atchison Plan. You're generating some healthy chatter about your campaign in interventionist circles. There we go. Yeah, Wallace is starting to pick up a little bit. He has Texas again. A little rough. We're not going to get Rhode Island. Focus on Maryland for now. Foreign policy remains one of your key issues in this campaign, and that issue has catapulted you to the front of the pack in the Republican Party. As you enter this general election, what will your message be on foreign affairs in the most general terms? Strong interventionalism. America's emerged from the war in a position of historic significance. I want the nation to be a committed defender of human rights and continue its program of economic aid to European nations recovering from Nazism. This is a strong appeal and the key point that propelled you to the nomination. Let's go. The question of the treatment of blacks in the American South is a growing point of contention, especially after President Wallace signed an executive order to desegregate the armed forces last year. How do you envision the state of civil rights in the South in a Stassen administration? Well, we must combat the monster that is racism wherever it rears its ugly head. I want a civil rights plank included in our party's platform. As well, I promise that when I am president, we will finally enact anti-lynching legislation. This is a strong bitch about leading the North at the expense of your support in some southern states. Well, The South wants to be cringe. We'll let them be cringe. Though we'll try to bolster up our support in North Carolina for now. In March of this year, the ethnic conflict in Palestine escalated when the Israeli forces moved into Arab-controlled territories. It was further escalated after the British mandate ended and Arab forces invaded the nation. So far, the Jews have successfully defended themselves despite being widely outnumbered. Hundreds of Americans have enlisted in the volunteer force, the Mahal. What do you have to say about this conflict, as it will enter its second year in November? I stand with the nation of Israel as we fight back against this brutal and illegal assault by Arab forces. As president, I would adopt a more resolute policy in the Middle East, up to and including the deployment of U.S. forces to ensure Jewish sovereignty. Not relevant at all today, no, nothing no significance there. This position will certainly help you among the Jewish community in New York, but the plight of Israel is a little too divorced from the national interest for the average Americans. Well, we're interventionalists, so that kind of helps us. Like, a lot of the South is interventionalist too, so that probably helps us a little more than it hurts us. Hopefully, I don't know. How would you like to utilize your running mate, Michigan Senator Arthur Vandenberg? Yeah, it would be a very hot take nowadays, I know. What do we do? Iowa and Pennsylvania. We're doing well in all of these regions, so I'm not worried there. He's a very strong on foreign policy and a party insider. I want him to make calls with every Republican figure he can reach in D.C. to establish a united front to defeat Wallace this November. Interesting move. Vandenberg manages to court figures like J. Parnell Thomas, John Foster Dulles, Joseph Martin, and Wallace White Jr. to your camp. It is unclear what effect this will have.
Someone say Wallace White?
Mr. White? I know it's not the same one, but I want to have that joke. And we're losing some momentum in the border on the Mason-Dixon line, but we'll see if we can hold on to the Dixon side of things. North Carolina. As the campaign season kicks into full gear, Wallace has made headlines for his vigorous campaign style. Now many Republican leaders are calling you to begin campaigning vigorously in your own right. What state would you like to begin your campaign on? Let's hold our great kickoff rally with Governor Dwight Green in the city of Chicago. I will speak to party unity, the importance of reaching new demographics, and the need to defeat President Wallace and his extreme policies. The rally goes well, and Governor Green's endorsement will certainly help you in Illinois. However, the Wallace Express rolls on with growing momentum at every stop. Yeah, shit. It's going pretty close to New Mexico. After the testimony of Elizabeth Bentley and Whitaker Chambers unveiled a list of suspected communists in government, Congressmen in the House Un-American Activities Committee have cast a wide net of allegations and subpoenas. Among those subpoenaed are President Wallace's friend Harry White and his former subordinate in the Agricultural Adjustment Administration, Alger Hiss. Any comment? I commend the HUAC strongly. They represent a crucial instrument to preserving our democracy and our very way of life. We must never allow the evil ideology of communism to fester in America. It is for that reason I call for a full outlawing of communism. This is the expected position from you, and one that resonates strongly with the public. Oh, the upper south is getting very blue. We'll try Wisconsin. After the long presidency of FDR, defeated by the conservative sect of the party, many Republicans have pushed for a constitutional amendment to limit the president to only 2 elected terms in office. Do you think such an amendment is a necessary addition to the Constitution? This is a divisive issue, but there's a way we can have our cake and eat it too. Recognizing the historic nature. Is this really going to be the best one? Okay. I don't know about this one. I support this amendment for the political health of the nation. A change in leadership every now and then is imperative for the functioning of our democracy. That's what they want to hear. I don't know if that one's really the optimal one. I don't. Yeah. Steamers gaze down at you from above, strewn about in the city of Cleveland in red, white, and blue. During your latest campaign in the Ohio City, the crowd of supporters' excitement is palpable. That is, until the noise ceases as a grizzled man in a pale uniform rushes upstage and jabs his finger in your chest. You call yourself a man of peace. If you were, you'd support our withdrawal from these endless wars. What will you say in response? Sir, I would respectfully have to disagree with that assertion. American participation in global affairs, including supporting our allies abroad, will be a primary concern of my administration. Because I know it is right. I believe it is right. The crowd cheers on your rebuttal as two Secret Service men flank the man's sides and pull him back. He spits at your feet. Liar! I was at Imabari Castle! You sent us to die! Lying dog-faced pony soldier, that guy, I'm telling you. Let's visit Wisconsin. Arthur Randburg has come under attack in the past for his opposition to many of Roosevelt's New Deal policies, including going so far as to call Roosevelt a dictator, sparking new concerns that a Republican victory would mean a rollback of the New Deal. Is this true? Well, absolutely not. Everyone who knows me knows that I support the vast majority of the programs, including the New Deal. That was true in 1940 when I defended the New Deal at the Republican Convention, and it's true now. This is a strong pitch. Luckily for you, your running mate is disciplined enough not to be outraged that you've thrown his record under the bus. Thanks, Arthur. I appreciate that. As the campaign continues, the Wallace Express, as it has come to be known, has received numerous plaudits, even among Republican newspaper editors, for its resourcefulness and the way it enthuses the president's Gideon's army. Is there any point you'd like to make to broaden your appeal? We need to stop the bleeding. I will deliver an address by radio, emphasizing my continuing support for the preservation of a New Deal and a federal housing bill. I'm still the same Harold Stassen who defended the New Deal in the 1940 Republican Convention. This is certainly an interesting pivot, but it'll at least help you gain crossover voters. Still, the Wallace Express rolls on. Oh god, it really is rolling. Oh god, yeah. Jesus. This was Maryland. Let's try to hold on there. After this Chinese Communist counteroffensive led by Chairman Mao crossed into KMT territory 2 years earlier, President Wallace has been criticized by yourself and prominent members of the Republican Party for his perceived weakness on the China issue. Most recently, the city of Kaifeng has fallen to communist forces. Can the U.S. be doing more to address this threat? The cause of the KMT is the cause of all free nations who wish to stand up to the threat of communist subversion and invasion. I believe they will triumph, but only if the U.S. commits more boots on the ground and planes in the air to defend their liberty. The KMT regime remains controversial globally, but this at least reaffirms your support to a strong foreign policy. Another week, another bout of campaigning. After delivering several speeches, you find yourself stashed away in a modest hotel, and God knows where. Esther smiles at you. Harold, I'd like to do more for the campaign. We ought to be more of a team, don't you think? Just so long as you, Glenn, and Kathleen stick by me through this fight, I'm confident we can pull through. Your young family comes to represent the idealistic family planning of a whole new generation of parents. Oh god, it's getting pretty close, surprisingly. Let's head to Wisconsin. Try to hold on there. A bewildered smile creeps over your face as you read the latest edition of Chicago Tribune. The Guru and the President, Wallace's relationship with Russian mystic unveiled. The article goes on to describe verbatim the relationship between Wallace and this strange Russian mystic, Nicholas Konstantinovich Roerich. Any comment on this startling discovery? This is absolutely unbelievable. Wrangle up as many reporters as will listen, and I'll hold a press conference on the matter. The fact that a man with so un-American a belief set the highest and most distinguished office in the land is a national embarrassment, else as far as to restore dignity to the White House. Wallace's connection with the Guru Rorik is certainly alarming to most Americans. I just had to pause and remember that's the guy who can lead Tibet and Kaiserreich. Even when I don't play Hoi 4, it doesn't escape me. We're starting to pull back in like some of the more upper South states. We're holding on barely in Massachusetts, but we're still holding on. Some of these states down here are a little tight, but he made headlines during the primaries for his strong stance on outlawing the Communist Party of the U.S. Though most Americans agree, many liberal pundits believe that act banning communism would be in violation of the First Amendment of the U.S. With that said, do you still support an act outlawing communism? The rights of free speech, of free press, of freedom of conscience, and freedom of religion must, of course, be kept inviolate. It is for that reason that one must support an act outlawing communism. There is no such right as to espouse views that eliminate rights. As communism espouses, that would be foolishness. This is what got you this far. You might as well keep it. It's getting close. We're hanging on somewhat, but still Wisconsin. This election has been marked by the first ever debate between presidential candidates in the history of the nation when he and Tom Dewey fought in a verbal debate before the Oregon primary. Now, if Wallace publicly challenged you to a general election radio debate, an unprecedented move, will you agree? Okay. I'm not going to expect element here. I may have struggled against Dewey in Oregon, but remember I was a champion debater from a young age. I'll read a Prince's offer to debate, assuming the terms are fair. President Wallace speaks first and is at first satisfied with his passionate response. You shoot him a smile and watch as the light fades from his cocky expression, and you obliterate him rhetorically in your rebuttal. Let's go. That seems to somewhat have hurt us still. Oh, God. No. President Wallace has made headlines for a so-called Atchison Plan, a bipartisan-supported plan to invest $6 billion in Western Europe to foster its rebuilding. Many liberals have praised the plan for being the largest foreign aid commitment in history, hardliners for its dollar diplomacy approach to building up capable governments so that they can defend against future communist insurgency. Do you support the plan, and if so, why? I support the Atchison Plan as an important instrument in our external battle against the pernicious communist influences. The European nations are in an extremely vulnerable state, and revolution could occur at any moment. Lest what we forget what we learned from the revolutions in Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia. Certainly consistent with your overall campaign message. God, we're starting to lose in the Rust Belt. Try Wisconsin one more time. Given the general rise in support for Wallace as the campaign has progressed, many of your advisors have suggested making overtures to gain the support of former Army Chief of Staff and current President of Columbia University, Dwight D. Eisenhower, who has become something of a celebrity for his leadership abilities. How will you court his endorsement? I'm trying very hard not to inspect element right now. I'm trying very hard. Eisenhower's a prolific golfer, isn't he? Let's invite him to a round and see if I can't win his endorsement there. Between each drive, you try to get his attention, but the general is quite the golfer and is focused solely on the game. He defeats you handily, smiles, and refuses to make any endorsement. That still seemed to help us somehow. The RNG's being interesting. Your opponent has made headlines for his calls for a national health insurance program financed by the federal government. Would you support such a program? I understand why this program might be enticing to some liberals, but I disagree that such a reform would be necessary. What we can do is enact reasonable reforms to make health insurance more affordable for everyday Americans. Good hedge. This will keep liberal and conservative Republicans alike happy. We might not be able to pick up Wisconsin. Let's go for Maryland. Children were playing in the streets in the Chinese city of Nanjing when a Soviet Tupolev Tu-4 could be seen cutting through the clouds overhead. It shed an iron tear that fell to earth, and in a flash thousands were wiped away from existence itself. The city was quiet again, for all that could be heard were the screams. Not even 24 hours later, a bomb of even greater magnitude was dropped by an American bomber over Anqing. What do you have to say about this alarming turn of events? I will deliver a radio address, in which I will convey my deep sorrow at this devastating and tragic loss of human life. But leave it at that until we have more information on what exactly happened. This is a day that will live forever in world history, but for now, your radio address hardly gives comfort for the American people. Following the nuclear blast in China, the nation has been racked with an even greater fear and paranoia. For the first time since you came home, it's all so quiet. I'm starting to fall asleep. Did you just nuke China? No, Henry Wallace did. The Soviets nuked it first, and then Henry Wallace nuked the commies. Like, that woke me the fuck up. Today you find yourself in a dim lit room, a man wearing black sunglasses despite the darkness, staring at you from across the table. He takes them off as he slides a file towards you with his other hand, his beady eyes staring you down. What do you think? He says quietly as you open the file. This is astounding. If what you're giving me is legitimate, this changes everything. This needs to be on the front page of every newspaper in the country. Publish it, General, and when I'm elected, you will receive my full pardon. General Douglas MacArthur does just that the next day and is immediately taken into custody for publishing classified information. Unfortunately, the story is buried by the newspapers, and those that notice write it off as another scheme by the crazed MacArthur. Uh-oh, that would have helped. That would have very much helped. Okay, Illinois. We gotta stop the bleeding. The Wallace Express is going on. On the 1st of November, just one day before the American people are set out to go and vote, Earl Browder, the former leader of the Communist Party, shambles before the HUAC, his vision hollow. Very alleged that the Soviet regime in Moscow has been secretly coordinating agents to interfere with the election on behalf of President Wallace in several key states. What do you have to say about this turn of events? I knew they'd get him for something. Let's just sit back and watch as all my rhetoric is vindicated in the press before our very eyes. This will help you, but you also could have pressed via... Now it says I should have pressed it more. Damn it. Okay. We'll be okay in enough of these states, I think. That's going to be tight, but... As Wallace and his faux army of staffers sail the rail lines back eastward, the campaign is coming to a close. It's been a difficult campaign, America being racked with a slate of crises, but you're confident it won't all be for naught. Where will you give a last speech of your campaign, and what will you say? Massachusetts is traditionally a Republican stronghold, even if it has been won by Roosevelt every time he ran. I will travel there and deliver a speech in Boston speaking to the need for a more committed American foreign policy. Your speech is well received, especially in light of recent bombings in China. Election has arrived. Settle in. Wait for results. However long it may take. Okay. I think we'll win. But it's going to be close. The anticipation always gets me here. Okay, all the states for Wallace and Russell come in. I expected those to come in first. Okay, we got 3. We at least got Vermont. If nothing else, we'll have Vermont. Okay, we got Indiana. We got Maine. Pennsylvania, that's a pretty big one. Nebraska. Got one of the Dakotas. Well, we're going to get the other. I already know that. We lost Virginia. That's a little... It could have been closer. Okay, we got the Steel Belt. Ohio was going to be close. I know, but... Got Colorado, Kansas. Lost Missouri. Missouri could have been closer. Arizona, we lost. I think California was looking good for us, if I remember. Yep, there we go, California. Thank you, baby. Oregon, we got. It's up to Iowa and Mass now. Mass went blue. And so did Iowa. But you know what? 309 to 163 to 59. I'll take that. I could have optimized it and done Spec Element to get a really good run, but I'm okay not doing that. I mean, I would have gone with another VP if I really wanted to optimize. By some unexpectedly narrow margins in several key states, you have triumphed over a strong challenge from President Wallace and secured your own term as President of the U.S. You hug Esther tight as once again as your staffers cheer the news of your victory. Your campaign's telegraph lines were from around the nation and the world with more messages of congratulations. Still, you sent some doubt in the expressions of those around you. After all, it was supposed to be a landslide victory for your campaign. You privately hope that this isn't a sign of things to come in your administration. Inhaling, you can feel your heart pound as you approach the grand curtains that separate you from a crowd of cheering supporters. Exhaling, Harold Stassen steps out, and for the audience, the president-elect steps in. For all detailed results, we actually did a little better than the so-called canonical ones. I have some further reading, but I'll do that in a bit. Let's check the closest states. 1,200 voters in Iowa. Mass, about 6,000. Oklahoma was pretty close, but that came through for us by about 5,100. Missouri, and then Indiana. Close, but we got the scar. We have some further reading to look at. Election is over, the choice has been made, but the wheels of time keep churning. Stassen, sworn as president, calls for hope, unity, and love in an inaugural address. News of the world, President Stassen travels to Hong Kong to broker peace. Chicago Tribune, Walter Nixon bill passed, communist organizations outlawed. New York Post, Dewey resigns from cabinet in scathing letter. To be continued. Not in this video, though. I gotta end it here. But thanks always for watching, my friends. Thank you as always for watching. I just got done saying that. It's almost 11 p.m. and I gotta go to bed soon. So, yeah. Sorry. Thanks always for watching, gang. If you like this video, leave a like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you have any comments or feedback, leave in the comment section below. I read all of them I get. Appreciate any feedback might have for me. Remember, we're doing a like goal. If we get 10 likes, we'll go ahead and return to 48 red. But we're gonna, I'll be playing 52 and then 56, and then when 60 drops, I'll go and do that as well. So if you guys want to see any of that, remember, I got that little goal going. And then if you want to keep updated with these uploads, I mainly do strategy game stuff, mainly Hearts of Iron 4 at this point, but I do other stuff occasionally if you want to keep up with that. Do a lot of new campaign trail stuff. I'm trying to get back into it more, at least. Check out my various links down in the description box below, including for Twitch, which this was filmed on live. I usually don't do the face cam, so if you want to see more of my face, follow the Twitch and check that out. Or if you don't want to, that's alright. You can just stick with YouTube. I also have a couple links down there as well if you want to check those out. That's really it for now, friends. I thank you all for watching. My name has been Mr. Dogbot333. I thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.